Hi guys, and welcome back to this channel, and welcome to part 3 of the Honda XL 250R restoration. So the frame is back from the powder coaters, and guess what? I'm not happy. Although they did a very good job. This is what they call a Ralco 3020, which is kind of like a bit of a universal colour for like the Honda red, if you want to call it that. The only thing I didn't like about it is the fact that it was more of a pinky red and it got no shine to it. It was very flat. So I've decided to give it a rub down, and we've literally gone over the whole frame now, and basically we're just going to sort of put our own colour on it. Okay, so we've etched the frame down ready for painting. Like I said, the powder coating weren't quite right, so we've gone for this Monza red, which I think is going to be the best colour. I searched online, it seems to be the one that a lot of people tend to use. Like I say, so we've etched the frame down and we've got it ready for painting. So I'm over at the workbench here. We've got the front and the rear wheel hub, and these are just about to go off to the wheelman who's going to make the spokes. So I've saved a couple of spokes, one for the front wheel, one for the back. He'll replicate these with the machine he's got. So here's the wheel hubs that have had their coat of paint. This is the machine we've been blasting some parts with, so I'll just show you what I've been doing over here, and here's a couple of examples of what the little blaster does. You can see on the bench here we've got a couple of parts that this one's been through the blaster, and look how clean they come up. And the same here, we've got the kickstart and the side stand. So there's a few of these bits, such as these are going to be powder coated, as well as the rear rack for the bike. That's been blasted down. You probably can remember at the start of part 1 when I featured this on the bike. So that's been completely blasted back to how it was originally, and again this is going to be powder coated. So we've got the rear shock in the vise now, and we're just going to refurb this part. We're just going to measure the thread on the top of the spring there, just so we know it sort of sits right in the bike. So we're going to put that back to where it was. We're going to release these sort of locking nuts on the spring. We're going to powder coat the spring. So that's not in bad condition at all. Right, so we've got the suspension linkage here. This is going in the blast cabinet. It's going to bring it up like new. I've just bunged the ends up so we don't get no grit in there. So check out how nice this has come up. Okay, so here's the rear spring out the shock. I've given it a degreasing. It's not in bad condition actually. We're going to give this a light blasting, and then we're going to re-powder coat it so it looks just like new. Right, so this is the powder coating gun. We've got the red powder coat bottle connected to the top. Also on an airline, we're going to take it outside, powder coat the spring, and then bang it in the oven. So right, we've put the spring in the oven. Once the metal's up to 180 degrees, we bake it for 10 minutes. We've cleaned up the rear shock, and also we've blasted back these retainer nuts that hold the spring in place, so now it's time to just put it back together. We've also just put a little bit of grease around the threads. One rear shock renewed. Right, over here we've got the swing arm. We tried spot blasting it earlier, didn't quite bring it up to the standard we wanted, so we've put a coating of this paint stripper on, left it on for about 45 minutes. I'm going to take it outside and clean it off and get this part ready for painting. So the 2K lacquer will just put the shine on it and protect the paint. Okay, right, so the engine's now been sat for 7 days, so the paint's hardened up. So there's loads of little bits on there that we've got to kind of bring back to the original colour. So we're going to put these in the blaster. As you can see on the top there, I've already done this one bit. So every bolt's got to come out, and we're going to blast them back, put a bit of rust shield on them, pop them back in the engine. We're going to take the sprocket off there, clean that up, and all the bits that should be back to sort of original colour will be. The cylinder head on the fins there had a silver effect, so we're just using the Dremel there to sort of grind away and just put that edging back in. Right, so what we've got here is the plastics off the bike. I've also got the tank as well. Been having a few issues with trying to remove the paint to get these ready for repainting. So basically we just ended up coating everything in paint stripper. We feel like things have been painted previously, and it weren't a case of just kind of sanding back and putting and applying a paint on top of that. I'll just show you what we've done with the tank. Okay, so the tank's been stripped right back. We've just literally been layering on paint stripper. We've probably put about 7 or 8 coats of paint stripper on this, but it's come back nice. You start to see all the imperfections in the tank as well. There's a little bit of filler there, and spin it around. A couple of bits there and there, which we're going to probably take that out, refill that, and clean it all down and get this ready for painting. So I'm just going to show you what I've achieved so far with doing the bike bits and getting everything prepped and in order. So here's one of the front forks leaking, so the seal's going to need to be changed. The stem's looking pretty good condition, to be honest. There's no rust spots on there, so I think these will clean up nice as well. I've got new gaiters for them. So over here we've got the foam out the front seat. Again, we've started to make a little bit of patchwork up here. It's really hard to get these. In fact, it's totally impossible. So what we're going to do is try and just sort of build the seat back up. It's not bad in places, just these side bits in this front bit here, but I think once that's been recovered, the foam density seems absolutely fine. So we're just a bit of patchwork on that. Like I say, bits for these bikes, you just cannot get them. Things like the seat covers you can buy online. This was about £45. It's got the original logo on the side there. So I've got the wheel rims over here. So these have been respoked. I've not built them back up again. What we did find was that both the wheels didn't quite match in. So in the end, we ended up kind of like blasting all these back and painting them. And you can see they're looking exactly the same now. So over here we've got the plastics for the bike. They've all been stripped back, but they're ready for painting. So sat on the ramp here, we've got the engine. Now we've not had to do no internal work. We know this engine was working when we bought it. We'd got a video on that. We've not tried firing it up ourselves. I'm going to drop the oil out of it. We're going to do a compression test on it, and hopefully that'll be absolutely good to go then. So all these parts have been laid out nicely. Every bit on this table has been renewed, as in blasted back. We're going to get everything kind of installed, greased up. These bearings here on this headstock have been left in penetrating oil. Again, they'll be all greased up. They seem to be like rotating nicely, so they'll be okay. The axles have all been cleaned down. Everything's had a coat of rust shield to give it that sort of long life protection. These are new gaiters. Now the gaiters you can buy, they was about £10. Everything else here on this side, including the kickstart, the rear brake, the footrests, these have all been powder coated. Everything in the box here, and this is what I say, it's all about organisation for me. You've got to keep everything in order. So on this top shelf, we've got the seals for the forks, we've got a new spark plug for the engine, these are new grips, not original ones. You can still buy original ones, they're crazy prices though, but I do think with things like that, you know, kind of rubber, a bit like the seals really, you know, you can buy these still original from 1982, but you know, would you trust the materials? Have they perished over that time? They've been sat on the shelf for a long time, whereas these are new ones, and they're not the cheap eBay ones, they're bought from a reputable company. So down here we've got the wiring loom. We was a little bit unsure about this because bits were breaking off here and there, and I don't want that to become a problem. We've managed to source a guide that can fit a whole new wiring loom to the bike. Got the handlebars here. Again, it's kind of got the bit of rust setting in on that, but that's because we've stripped it back. We've got the carburetor there that we're going to do a rebuild. So I've just been to my local motorcycle garage and they fitted these tyres for me. These are the Kenda tyres. I did have a look. The Pirelli seem a little bit too expensive to be honest, but these are the Kenda 270s. I think they've got a good tread pattern on them and be perfect for like a dual purpose tyre. So all we need to do is put everything back on the hub, grease everything up, and that's the wheels complete. So also whilst I was at the garage, I also got them to put the new seals in the forks. So all I need to do to these really, I'm going to blast clean them and we're going to put some protector on them, and hopefully these will look like new. So join me in part 4 where we start to put bits back on the bike, starting with the engine.